I believe that there was, particularly in Europe and the United Kingdom, in Western Europe and the United Kingdom, there was a very elitist mentality, and they put up the price of the dogs to tremendous amounts of money in those days, which was pretty much unaffordable for the average working dog person.
Mm-hmm.
And so they made the dog, like most dogs are. Dogs in general become a cultural identity for people, and a social status. And the social status that the marketing propaganda had done, particularly in Western Europe, was that this breed was a very middle class consumer commodity, and therefore they priced it accordingly.
That's not really what the Boer people. That wasn't the way they looked at it, correct?
Absolutely, absolutely. So these dogs normally would have been given for free or traded with other farmers and other local people in the townships, and that sort of thing would go on. And there was hunters and people like that who generally needed good, healthy, sound dogs.
Mm-hmm.
Um, so the dogs were dogs. I mean, in most societies across the world, um, dogs have always been just something that is for the benefit of humankind, right?
Mm-hmm.
And I think probably in the early 19th century, in late 18th century, I think the dogs were very much a breed fancy for the very elite in societies, particularly in the Victorian eras.
Mm-hmm.
And so you had dogs that would reflect their status to their owners.
Mm-hmm.
Um, the Boerboel was a working dog, and like the German Shepherd or the Presa Canario, it's always been a working dog. The Staffordshire Bull Terrier as well, the Pit Bull Terrier, always been a working man's dogs.
Mm-hmm.
And so the price has to be reasonably reflective if a dog's a working tool as well as a companion.
Mm-hmm.
And if it's priced like a Fabergé egg, then it becomes more an ornament that you look at as opposed to something that you're going to work, right?
Right. Absolutely.
Right, you spend all that money. The last thing you want is for that dog to fall apart because it looks beautiful by the log fire.
Right.
It's picture beautiful, but for the average working person, I mean, remember in the old days, I mean, the bull mastiff and most of the mastiff breeds were designed for a purpose in mind, and it's a very much sift in society. It's the sift of society's attitudes towards working dogs. But particularly in the last 20 years, I mean, the demise of most bull breeds has been pretty rapid.
Yes.
So I think the Boerboel certainly was a dog that had a place for the farmer. And this is going back in the 1930s, 1940s, right?
Mm-hmm.
In the 50s and 60s and up to the 70s, perhaps starting to wane a little bit. And that's when the Boerboel really was a really good dog. The word Boerboel comes from the farmer, which meant an Afrikaner, a Boer,
Mm-hmm.
trekker, um, would have dogs. And so any dogs that he owned would be considered Boer bull, or particularly the big dogs would be called farmer's bulls or farmer's bull. And that's where it got its name. And of course, the name got exaggerated, right? So the dog became monstrously large and dysplastic and everything else with that.
I've heard that the modern version is definitely uh, prone to hip dysplasia.
They're terribly unhealthy. They have a huge reproduction issues. They can't breed properly,
Mm-hmm.
naturally. So where natural reproduction is no longer the status quo for a breed, any species, it should, under normal circumstances, become redundant.
Mm-hmm.
Well, of course, it's not really about the breed of dog or anything else. It's about commerce and economy.
Right.
And so it's dictated like, this is what the market wants and this is what we will produce.
Mm-hmm.
But is it the real Boerboel?
Right.
I mean, there was the real Boerboel was a dog called the Frontier dog,
Mm-hmm.
which had much longer legs, had thinner bone, longer muzzle,
Mm-hmm.
and a much healthier, viable breed.
Right.